surah that have magnificent meanings, and which is the prayer that Yusuf ﷺ said at the end when his family and his father and mother came, and they were all connected or reconnected again in Egypt. In Egypt. Rabbi, oh my Lord, you have gave me a form of kingship or sovereignty. وعلمتني من تأويل الأحاديث. You have taught me the interpretation of dreams or reverting back these events to a certain meaning, for example. فاطر السماوات, creator of the heavens and the earth, أنت ولي في الدنيا والآخرة, you are my God, you are my protector in this life and afterlife. توفني مسلما, make me die as a Muslim. That's our word today. وَالْحَقْنِي بِالصَّالِحِينَ, and join me with the ones who are righteous. الْحَقْنِي بِالصَّالِحِينَ. My message for you today, guys, is the value of being a Muslim. Your true value comes from this amazing word. Of course, this word has a response, like any other name. The name has a certain response that's active within it. So you are a Muslim, you indulge in things which Muslims do. But of course, within the context of Islam, there are things that you should not ever leave as a Muslim, because it kind of absorbs or start indulging in the area of affecting your faith and Islam itself. Some areas, maybe some Muslims are taking things that they're just utilizing the things that are obligatory and they're not escalating in the religion. Some Muslims, they do implement the fundamentals. They believe that Allah is one, subhanahu wa ta'ala. They pray 5 times a day. They follow Prophet Muhammad with the major things. They don't indulge maybe in major sins. Maybe from time to time, they have sins somehow, some toxicity in their life, but they're still Muslims. Now, when we speak about Islam, I want you to understand, guys, something. Having the value of Islam very high, having the word of La ilaha illallah very high, giving these things very high value, giving the 5 prayers very high value, helps you sustain your mental state of accepting yourself and loving yourself. When you do this, because in certain areas of life, and this is something that's natural for a Muslim, by the way, to go through a trial of sin, for example. So you're attached to this sin for years, maybe from ever since you were a teenager. If you leave this sin, this comes in, this sin comes in. If you leave the sin 5, 10, 20, okay, 1 year, then you get like 5 years consecutive doing it again. And then if you leave this part of it, this part come back. This is natural for a Muslim. It's not something that's not natural. Now, of course, I'm not encouraging anyone to do sin, 100%. But when I speak about a status quo. I speak about a time of event that someone is indulging right now in that activity. I'm not speaking about something that's in the past or something that's in the future. That moment exactly, that image goes away and it recurs again. It goes away and recurs again. And you might see the same image, the same sin, without naming sins, especially that this class is plus 13, I think. All right? All right? So you're having this chocolate that you're eating that's not very healthy, for example, that gives you a sugar rush. All right? You're eating it again and again. And then you leave it. And then you repent. Do it again and again and again until you hate yourself. Until you stop, pushing your head against the wall. What am I doing? Why are you Muslim? Then the shaitan comes here and starts to push down negative messages into you. Right? What do you do here? Very important. Because this thing, guys, is very relevant to our lives. كل ابن آدم خطاء. كل ابن آدم خطاء. Every son of Adam is a wrongdoer. وخير الخطائين التوابون. The best among the wrongdoers, which will always be there, is the one who's actively indulging Tawbah. Now, but nafs. My nafs got tired from this ma'siyah. Give me an antidote, give me something to inject that can boost me and uplift me until I know how to deal with this ma'siyah. My answer to you is this. Through this verse in the Quran, Yusuf ﷺ specifically chose Tawaffani Musliman. Make me die as a Muslim, because this is the highest form that you can meet your Lord within. Die on that Islam, that valuable Islam that you have. When we give Islam a very high value, as I said, these things will become, and this is the model that I introduce personally, that's my own flavor. I understand there are several other I like to use the word genre. It's very musical, but anyways, nothing wrong with it, inshallah. Just the title. This is my genre, my flavor in addressing sin. All right. The sin that you're doing right now, and it is driving you mad, may have an underlying reason that was there since childhood, for example, but by time, because of a bad community, or because of one specific moment where you slipped and then the shaitan came and he noted that action, that image into your mental state, now it becomes like a waswas, now it's recurring. So it's connected to a root cause that's there. Because of the root cause, the sin is there. Now, there is one way that you go with the sin face to face. You have the sin of eating the nice chocolate, for example, and then you're trying to go from a diet, for example, fast, get a less dangerous chocolate to eat, whatever it is, all right? You do that. But then there's another way. Well, how about this? How about we flip the matter and we study the root cause that's triggering this sin? Okay, what's the door for that thing? How can we enter that field? Number one, make sure that as long as you're a Muslim, you never know, and I repeat, you never know what is the sin that's going to be the reason for you to enter the paradise. Yes, you speak to yourself like this. You address the shaitan in that sense. Make him lose hope to take away Islam and your tawheed from you. You have La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah alone can vanish your sins in a split of a second. But your main concern now, listen, I'm still a Muslim, I still have a duty. And that's where we come here and put this caveat and caution there. Listen, we're not encouraging you to do things again. But we are encouraging you to deal with yourself in a very soft, subtle manner and stop bashing yourself. Uplift yourself, have this honor and pride that you're a Muslim. And this sin, I'm not going to speak today on how much benefit it could have on you, that sin that's been recurring. Why? Why? Because your intention is not to be arrogant and to challenge Allah. That's not your intention. You're not like someone who's challenging his Lord with these things. You're not that person. You're doing it out of weakness. Right? So let's explore. Let's take this as a chance to explore what is the trigger. Maybe the trigger is some childhood problem that happened. Maybe it's someone who's very annoying me in my life, and every time I deal with this person, I leave the house and I put my hands in my pocket and I open that small cartoon that's colored and I take out the chocolate and I eat it. All right? All right? Maybe this is the reason. But then, is it okay to empathize with myself? Of course it's okay. Of course. Because this might lead you to leave the sin in a very, very nice manner and you can find yourself and your hope in your Lord becomes very high. So you're very optimistic now. Is there something good behind this sin that I'm not seeing? Maybe we'll think about that in a moment. So you go back to the root cause and start seeing that part of you, but that part of you needs a lot of it. Needs a lot of injecting how valuable you are. Because the point, the shaitan, what does he want? He wants to pull out your quality as a human being. The fitrah that Allah gave you. that you're still honorable because you're a Muslim. Because you're a Muslim, you still have this Islam in you. You're valuable, you're honorable, you have dignity, you still hold your face and your back up and face the sin with another type of language. All right, so this root cause, when you indulge in that, this is a type of, let me say, or a way or a technique that you can use with yourself in order to not only heal yourself, not only see your sin as a sickness, something that it's like I'm dealing with myself like I'm going to a doctor. So this doctor now needs to pull out his judgment in order to empathize with you and be full maximum state of mind where he can have mercy on you. You understand me, guys? So you're more privileged with that. If you're a Muslim, you're still praying, you're still saying La ilaha illallah, and you're not bowing down or surrendering to another human being like you for your sins to be forgiven. That's something that's not simple, by the way. And that might be the reason, guys, that might be a reason which the children of Adam get misguided. Why? Because the shaitan comes into them and says, listen, you sinner, you just did that. You don't deserve Allah. You need some sort of special intercedence from someone who died 1,000 years ago and he's already in heaven. See, that's the door now. Su'u dhan fillah. You start thinking bad of Allah. I don't deserve Allah. He comes from there. Then slowly, things happen and you start indulging in things that Allah doesn't like, and shirk starts from there. It starts from there. Because who else is going to forgive you if it's not Allah? Who else? Look at children, look at babies. And babies, children, babies is too small for this analogy. Young children, the ones who are still healthy, let me say, in their mindset, they tend to forget things just like that. When they do a mistake, oh, Baba, I'm sorry, instead of a second, it's gone. Why? They're so pure from the inside that, number one, they know that it came from a pure heart. They know that. It's not an act of arrogance, it's an act of forgiveness. They forget it, right? You're vulnerable for forgiveness, that's number one. You are vulnerable to forget. That's why you have 5 prayers. You should have a good friend who reminds you, this is haram, this is halal, take care, brother. You know he's not accusing me, he's not being, nosy. No, he's just reminding you. You need a reminder. You need that. That's why we are living. That is the essence of the Islamic bond. The Islamic is to have this reminder that this is haram, this is halal, let's go pray. Don't eat chocolate, for example. It's bad for you, stuff like that. You need that. All right. So that's number one. What was the thing I said? Just said something. Yeah, it comes from forgiveness. You forget, you sin, and God. Not again. Children, subhanAllah, they know this about themselves. That's why they pull back very quickly and say, Baba, I'm sorry. And that trusted Baba, Mama should be done in a better way for your Lord. Meaning that it's in their instinct to believe that my Father is so forgiving that I'm sure if I say sorry one time, you put that with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Not the other way around. There is no one capable, remember this, of forgiving like Allah. So someone who's generous and capable, why else wouldn't he forgive you? You ask yourself, what does that trigger in you? Al-haya. Give me a good word for haya.
Shyness.
I've been searching for this. I hope what you're saying is accurate. I hope so. But al-haya. So you stay away from sin because you're shy to sin in front of someone who's very generous.
Embarrassed. Shyness.
You're shy. Now, embarrassment, I don't know. Excuse my English. These technical words in English.
Feeling shameful or?
Yeah, the reason why I'm not saying shameful is that I don't use a word that has an element in some context of self-destruction. You know, you understand me?
In a positive way.
Yeah, exactly. So when you say shame or embarrassment, I'm afraid that this word has to do with some sort of
negativity.
Exactly, some sort of exactly. So while shy or haya, it's more into honor somehow. It comes from a healthy place. So in the context of Islam, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he complemented the characteristic of haya. At the same time, he used to be someone who's very courageous, shuja'. He expresses himself freely in front of the Sahaba. At the same time, he has haya. So it's not the embarrassment that makes you, some kind of excessive introvertness. No, he's still outgoing, but he has his haya. So his haya, for example, makes him pick the words that he uses. He's not fornicative in his language, for example. So his clothes, for example, is satar, he does not wear, for example, things that are very much revealing. Somehow, you understand me? This type of haya is there, it's healthy, faithful, Islamic haya. You understand me? So the relationship becomes like that. You avoid the sin out of haya. You are in hal, you are in some sort of condition that you don't want to upset the Lord subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? So let's go back to the concept of forgiveness. Now, again, when your heart is that innocent with your Lord, then that type of sinning is the sinning that, number one, comes without pre-planning. It's not pre-planning. Number two, overall your life is preserved. You're trying to the best of your ability to preserve your life from sin. So you receive the information, this is haram, you leave it. You receive the information, because guys, you will still be receiving information. Don't think that you reach a level that I know 100% the Islam that was there during the Prophet's time. No, there are still areas that you still will learn, that you might hear a scholar changing his mind. That's totally fine. It's totally fine in Islamic culture. Fine, no problem. So it is you are in responsive state of mind. So once you know, you practice. You have this responsive state of mind, and you're active with your fitrah. You're active now. You're activated now. You're ready to receive, for example, commandments. You understand me? So this type of fitrah, it does not contradict the fact that you might sin. All right? Once you reach that point, that innocence, that bara'ah, then here comes the hadith that supports you. كل ابن آدم خطاء وخير الخطائين توابون. If you know that the Nabi Sallallahu give you this comfort zone, it's okay. Every son of Adam is wrong with the world. So you can indulge in life. You can be someone who try things, who goes, does business, studies, travel, whatever it is, you indulge. You become someone who's active because you have someone holding your back, telling you that you're gonna do sin, even if you're staying at home. You must stay at home, lock the doors, keep the phone away, and by the time you become so moody, when your mother calls you, start shouting maybe. It becomes like that. Because you do not have your coffee for 1 or 2 days now. You understand? So sin is gonna run after you. That's fine. But the thing is, number one, your self-worth, put a very high value in the ibadat you're doing. Put a very high value in tawheed. Tawheed, that you have no shirk in your life. You're holding to the covenant of saying La ilaha illallah, and you're preserving that to the best of your ability. That alone is a strong force that you have that gives you the qualification to be forgiven more than anyone else. And what did Ibrahim say to his own? He told them, فَمَا ظَنُّكُمْ بِرَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ. What is your expectation of Rabb al-Alamin? What do you think of it? Do you think of him as someone who's going to punish you once you do the sin? Like someone who's, astaghfirullah, it's like thinking of Allah that he has something personal with you. And that's it. So you feel safe with Allah. If you think good of Allah. Because you think of Allah, you do good things. You think good of Allah, you do good. Even if you think good of Allah, here's where now the very niche kind of place that I like to talk about. is that think good of Allah. Why? Well, it's your destiny to have this sin that's recurring, by the way. How come? Because number one, sometimes for some people, this sin becomes their journey. Yani, listen, you do it once, twice, 3 times, you break down, you talk to this sheikh, I did this, what do I do? You start crying, you talk to your father, you talk to your imam masjid. No use. I'm trying my best. I'm not going out of this. What do you call this? Quicksand, maybe. It's pulling me every day. I'm being pulled into this sin every day. And, excuse me. And it is, if someone comes into you and says, for example, come on, man, just give this 20 dirham charity and stop thinking about it. Maybe if someone tells you, everyone does it. Someone might tell you that. But you have this force that I don't want to forget the word I want to use because I want to make it something that's very special and nice for you guys at the end of the session. Maybe you have a force inside you. This is the force that keeps on reminding you, hey, sinner, there is something nice you're not exploring in yourself. That's why you're sinning. How come? It's very contradictory. Is it? Very contradictory. How come that I have this beautiful thing inside me? This is the force that's making you sin over and over and over. And this is where shaitan comes, listen, you're doing it again. You're doing it again. Until he wants to break those beautiful things that you have inside. So, for some people, it starts as a journey. So, he gets tired and he says, listen, it's either me or it's either this thing. Us. We're going face to face right now. It's either me or the shaitan, for example. Right? And then maybe some people, that becomes their breakthrough. It opens up a new dimension in their life where when they are victorious over the sin, that was something that's waiting for me all day long. Give me this one example. I know one guy, he had a certain wrong practice in his life, and we're not going to mention what is it. SubhanAllah, once he left that thing, he started making the tawbah he made. Inshallah, may Allah accept his tawbah. He said that people, and he was speaking about people who are important in the society, they're starting coming back into my life. Once I cleansed my life from this bad habit, SubhanAllah. It's like that bad habit was blocking that beautiful society in Islamic. So it kind of also gives you a indication, like we spoke in the surah before. Imrat al-Aziz, she was just an image to the position that Yusuf ﷺ was enabled. So it's like this. The images come in front of you and comes 2 options. This prompt, like the PC, the prompt comes. Yes or no? No. She goes away, the position comes. Understand me? So you perceive these things also as chances, right? As gifts. You perceive them as gifts, and you have, of course, your faith makes you separate between God's action as a trial and what's okay and not okay. That's 100%. You should have the suspension. That what Iman does to you. It does not make you accept actions because they are pleasurable. You have an extra suspension for pleasure, which is the faith in the kalimat and the words of Allah and Rasul. So we were saying that it becomes a breakthrough for some people to break through that sin and maybe open a new start and a nice society, that this sin was like a monster or a beast in front of me that was blocking the society. Maybe that other society, you see, some contexts, there are contexts which speak about sin depriving the rizq away from your life. This is there in the Islamic context, by the way. I'm not saying no, I'm speaking in some other pathway where now maybe these things are connected. Maybe because you're doing this sin, now this sin's energy, this shaitan that's clinging to that sin is pushing good people away from life. So what do we do with people here? We don't depress them more. It's the way you talk sometimes, guys. It's the way you address the thing gives the people a good narrative and good tidings. So you say, for example, you give them bushra, you tell them, especially if he's a Muslim, you tell them, listen, there's something really beautiful behind this sin, if you leave it. You see that yourself. Maybe you need to change the way, the technique that you're using. Hellfire is there, and nar mawjood, yes, we believe in hell. But maybe you give yourself enough information about hell, it's time to take information about Jannah a little bit. You understand me? And maybe, by the way, maybe you do have the Jannah and nar, but you're not fair to yourself in something, which is what? Which is what's going on with the world right now. Meaning that maybe the sin is coming from somewhere which it's not having to do with the fundamental belief in heaven and hell. No, it comes from somewhere where you're not fair to yourself. Maybe, for example, you're not indulging in a profession that you're good at. So you have this emptiness inside you, you're depressed, you are not willing to humble yourself down. Maybe you're good at something, you're still stubborn, you want to hold into this. While this thing is bad for you, it's causing you the addictions, it's a depressing job, for example, that you know it's depressing, but you're holding into it because you have this little tiny envy in you that I'm afraid if I leave it, as if he's a failure, for example. Maybe. And that's where you're depressed. You're trying to soothe that with these sins, with these shahawat, to try to give yourself this pleasure that I'm okay, I'm fine. It's okay. And you're returning it, you're attached to something. And attachments, by the way, might give an indication that something is wrong somewhere. Why are you very attached to this thing right here? So this is where you need to ask yourself, right? Again, it becomes a door for a path, a new path in your way to give yourself good tidings. What is the good thing that's waiting for me if I stop this sin today? You might not stop the sin today. It might be, maybe, that's, again, some sensitive area that I don't want to go to, but maybe someone needs to go to rehab, for example, and that's there today. Maybe something you need to quit cold turkey. I don't know what's good and bad in that sense, but maybe you're not going to stop right now, but at least if you die indulging in training yourself, in coaching yourself to leave that sin, 1% step is better than 0% step. And maybe, and you all know this hadith, that the guy who killed 99 people, huh? You know this, huh? Listen, when that guy was shocked and told him, oh my God, 99 people? What are you, how dare you? What did the guy do? Yeah, Baba, 100, good. You know what I mean? At least I'm getting some good kick from this. Mafi fighter. No, he was us. 99. Let me do that. Why not? You know, at least I got the top score. But then after time, his faith came into me. When he heard good tidings from a alim, a scholar, a true scholar, deals with Allah every day. And he knows who Allah is better than anyone else. When you know who Allah is, you know how much capable He is of forgiving you, of giving you chances. Allah Azza wa Jalla subhanahu wa ta'ala expanded that land into Allah physically subhanahu wa ta'ala made this land the length of the land that He wanted to go to expanded a bit because He wanted them to enter into His mercy subhanahu wa ta'ala. He took the step because of a good thing someone gave him. Give me a word. Give me hope. Yes. Someone gave him hope. And again, the hope is in your nice, beautiful gift called Islam. If you have La ilaha illallah, say A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem, spit 3 times, and raise your head above. Keep your head up, your shoulders tight, you're still a Muslim. Smile and go on. It might be the reason that you go to paradise, why you don't know. And by the way, guys, your journey in life, in faith, in Iman, Islam, might be only what? Your your struggle, your jihad might be on one thing. It's changing your expectation about Allah only. Imagine you have a journey of 20, 30 years that some other person might have something very serious. He might lose his life. Your journey might be, and this is something that's not as small as it sounds, or you know what I mean? It's change, having good expectation of Allah. So you are now in a jihad with the shaitan to preserve your expectation about Allah. How about that? How about that as an amal salih? How about having that as an amal salih? Thinking, preserving your good expectation of Allah is alone is an amal salih. So put credit into that. In order to have this mental kind of jihad, it's a mental jihad between you and yourself. No matter how people around you are injecting that, this person, mom and nafai, the sire, this, you know what I mean? So your ikhlas, your honest relationship with Allah is that you're ignoring all these comments from internally and externally. This is one thing, by the way, that Allah might look into your heart, because one day this thing will flourish. This thing that kept you making tawbah every once in a while, it's not something, by the way, easy for everyone, because someone might, some people, they يخادعون الله والذين آمنوا وما يخدعون إلا أنفسهم. They think they're fooling their Lord. Well, I've sinned. Let me complete the journey of sin. I did it once. Let me. It's like they're It's like they're waiting for the chances. Well, sometimes, subhanAllah, when you sin, then you are in a position where you are a bit in a kind of super position where you kind of, it takes a split of a second to say no, to go back to that. That decision there itself, by the way, it's a form of jihad, by the way. It's not something easy, because you know that one tiny step might open a sea, an ocean of chances in this haram. But while you listen to the tidings of the shaitan, to the promises of the shaitan, you choose to believe the promises of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I urge you guys to utilize the concept of this dunya in your faith. Meaning that do not distinct between your faith and utilizing the fact that, for example, you love money, or you love, for example, I don't know, luxury cars or positions. Utilize that to ground you, to preserve you to leave sin. Say to yourself, if I'm going to leave this today, I'm sure Allah will give me that good car, or that, amount of money, or that wealth. Say that to yourself. Why? It helps you preserve this yourself, by the way. And by the way, these gifts that Allah gave us in this life, it's not meant for us to leave as, as a rule of thumb. Not always, by the way. Sometimes it serves you. It serves you. And some people are going to listen. Some people, they perceive the relationship with the Lord by getting little of this dunya. The more they leave this dunya, their iman, subhanAllah, increases. That's their flavor. It might not be your flavor. Maybe your flavor is, you know what? Maybe I came from a family, alhamdulillah, that's one thing. Maybe, alhamdulillah, I made a fortune in this 20, 30 years. I want to preserve them. I want to meet Allah rich. I want to meet Allah rich. I want to meet Allah Azza wa Jal while I'm part of charities. I want to show Allah Azza wa Jal that I was preserving my haya, my honor. I did not commit zina. I didn't commit while I was capable of doing that. And I utilized that, for example, giving people jobs. Enjoying my life in a halal way. Do you think that's something that's not, inshallah, worthy of getting ajr for? No. If you do the enjoyments, in an Islamic way, you get rewarded for that. You all know the hadith that has to do with someone's spouse. With your wife also. When you indulge, while someone might do it for the pleasure, what still you're getting the reward? Why? What was the justification of the Prophet ﷺ? Didn't he was capable of doing it in the haram? Bala ya Rasulullah. If he does it in the halal, you get the ajr. So that shows you also how pleasures and enjoyments works for you guys. It works for you. So sometimes take a break willfully and go enjoy your time with your wives, with your families, to make take it as a form of ibadah to become enemies with the shaitan. Because one force of the shaitan, maybe not for everyone, maybe he knows some people, they escalate and thrive in a wealthy life. He knows that. And he enters to them through the zone of trying to implement a model of faith, which is not their model. This is not you. That's for example, Abdullah's model. That's his model. That's his way of expressing his love to his Lord. That he likes to take little of his dunya. That's his way of being humble. But maybe other people, then Allah balances out the world. There's a scale. Not all people should be, for example, poor. Not some people should be rich. They should, because they are the ones, for example, who are providers for the other. Whatever the case may be, I'm just saying that don't be stuck to one image of faith. While there are other ways you can express your love to your Lord, you eat that, you drink that nice coffee, and eat that nice food and say Alhamdulillah, for example. So your attachment is increased to your Lord through that enjoyment, through that beautiful experience that you had. And by the way, it reminds you of heaven also. So you use that model. You say, for example, if this is enjoyable here, I hope that it connects one day and continues in heaven. You say that to yourself, right? All right. So back again to the sin that you're doing. Right. Now, some people, you see, that may have, for example, addiction problems, to drugs or other things, when they master themselves, they become ambassadors. They become like messengers to people who are in the same struggle that they were. That shows you, by the way, that is one of the reasons why you are living that struggle. Because maybe one day it will become your message to people who go through the same thing. Who else is better than knowing the ins and outs of this sin? But be careful of the school of thought which tells you do it to get the experience. That's not right. That's satanic maybe to speak like that. All right? It's a very twisted way of looking at things. No, it's not. We speak after the disasters happen, then we utilize this. Why? To say that, listen, Allah is all wise. And now I'm going to use Allah's wisdom to extract a good meaning that I can use. And by the way, it might show, because these things, subhanAllah, these similarities sometimes indicate a certain archetype that's there. If these people, for example, who go through the same journey, they all have a message. So, for example, through my journey, for example, let's say someone is addicted to, I don't know, certain, whatever, okay? And then, he knows that some other person also went that the same journey. So he might think, listen, maybe now I should mirror some things that person went through, so I understand why I'm in this situation. You understand me? So them going through the similar thing might indicate that they both have the same pattern. So this is one more thing that you can get from the element of sinning, that, okay, listen, why would I, if it's recurring, it means that I have an element of recurrence in me. Some sort of recurring force is in me. Now a recurring force might say to me, and listen, that maybe this part of me is the part where it wants to create something. But then that sin came and it's stuck there. If I remove it and I put the thing that maybe Allah is distant for me, that thing will become recurring. So the force itself is the utilization you have. So you have a certain utilization in you. The sin came, and you know what I mean? This is what happened. So you remove this, and you cleanse it nicely, and you put your message or whatever, something is going to be created. Now, last thing. This is the core, the pillar that I hope, inshallah, ya Rabbil Alameen, this is my hope in Allah, whether me or you guys or whoever is connecting to these classes, inshallah, try to portray a relationship with Allah. Though this thing might sound something that's natural, But we need to practically move this from theory into real practice to reflect on you really. For example, not for people to perceive you as that. Leave that aside. Might have a good side also, by the way, of giving a vibe. Giving a vibe in itself is something good, by the way. But anyways, not only that, we need to practice the concepts we believe in to be living that. So the concept that I'm inshallah, I mean, may Allah Azza wa Jal make you and me part of this beautiful journey and message, which is having a relationship of love with Allah, having an intimate relationship through love with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we say that, listen, if you are having this quality of recurrence, consistency, attachment, strong desire, intimacy. Some people who indulge in sin, they're so intimately related to that sin and have this kind of warm relationship with that sin. And there's some people also, I'm sorry for this elaboration, guys, but I want to reach to a point where inshallah it's clear. Some people also, they go artistic with some sins they do. So they try the green one and then the blue one. They do this. Now, I want to tell you something. What is this? It might be love that's not expressed because of a harsh upbringing. Maybe you had a very harsh upbringing. Now your love is expressed through these addictions, through substances, for example. Why? Because it was your escape. Now it kept on changing until your mind got used that love is expressed in this way. Why love is something pure. And Allah mentions in the Quran, يُحِبُّهُمْ وَيُحِبُّونَهُ. What's the ayah? يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا مَنْ يَرْتَدَّ مِنْكُمْ عَنْ دِينِهِ. Whoever leaves the religion of Islam, فَسَوْفَ يَأْتِي اللَّهُ بِقَوْمٍ. Allah will bring people. The first thing Allah said, يُحِبُّهُمْ وَيُحِبُّونَهُ. He loves them and they love him. Azza wa Jalla. And other verses that we mentioned in Hadith about love, I don't want to repeat it right now. But the love, maybe there's a lot of love in you that's suppressed. And maybe you're depressed because you are ashamed to express this love. For example, because you know you have a certain weakness in you. Maybe someday you were sitting down praising your Lord, reading Qur'an, and someone, from the kids, bullied you, or someone from the neighbors bullied you, and told you, listen to this guy. Yesterday I was doing this thing with him, we were bouncing somewhere together, and now he's reading Quran in front of anyone. Well, he has no right to say this to you, by the way. It's your personal relationship with Allah. You're still a Muslim. You're still a Muslim. No one can ever take Islam from you because of a certain mistake you did. Remember that, and say this to your kids out. Let them still continue what they're doing, regardless of whoever is bullying them with the name of Islam, while it might be some sort of envy, ignorance maybe, by the way, or a certain image that they're stuck to. That if you're a Muslim, you should be this, wearing this uniform or else. No. That's number one. Number two, it might be that you are praising Prophet Muhammad. Maybe you have a flavor in praising him that's special to you. And some people, because again of ignorance, they said that, listen, you follow his sunnah in this verse, then follow him in this verse. It's not you who said that. Who are you to set benchmark for me? Who are you to set the benchmark for me? That's number two. Maybe you are someone who you have a lot of love and empathy for people, by the way, but you have a struggle to trust anyone. Maybe you're betrayed once, twice, 3 times. You know what? Let me, enjoy my time. Maybe. I'm just saying that subhanAllah, this is my own vision that Allah Azza wa Jal, we take this from the first place where Allah, put you in this disposition or inclination. You were created, and by the way, we are blessed with this, by the way, that the concept of Islam, you're not acquiring something new. It's within you. It's fitrah. So you're reverting back into it. All you need to do is push the right buttons, and then the programming will come by itself, and then you can indulge in more information, of course. But it's fitrah. It's fitrah. You don't have to destroy yourself first and then become Muslim. All you need to do is revert back to your natural state. That's the point. So, if everything starts good from Allah Azza wa Jal, me as a human being, it means that the original force may be something good. The original force which makes me sin is a good force, but the content, the design is good. The design is good and pure, but the design, the content of the design made it toxic. So what I need to understand first, wait a minute, maybe listen, since I'm sinning, let me shift my mind a bit. What is this design that this sin is acquiring? Is it the part of me which is creative? It is the part of me which, again, very expressive. It is the part of me which is very longing to Allah and attached to Him, but no one is approving of me. That's why I don't believe that I'm like that. How come I am like that? Well, maybe you are the one who's different. And maybe someone injected into your mind that because you're different, you're arrogant. Well, you're not arrogant, you're just different. It's just that you're the one who has nice, beautiful, small eyes like the half of the family. Maybe, I don't know. It's your eyes which is the most beautiful eyes in the family. Maybe. You have something special in you. And then Shaitan comes and gives you this approving of yourself. And then you start having these attachments that you're having struggles with. So again, just to sum this up, your value as a Muslim should stay very high. You are privileged with this Islam. You are blessed with this Islam. Allah Azza wa Jalla, inshallah, will never fail you. Always trust us. Allah. The love is still there. And Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah say that Iman, that faith increases and decreases. So the core, the main element of faith is still there. While it's increasing and decreases, fine. There's no problem. Work again and increase your faith. Again, the separation between us, inshallah, Azza wa Jalla, and between saying encouragement of sin, which is, of course, what we don't do, inshallah, is that the element where you need to coach yourself to get out of this sin. And a nice way, guys, to do this, if you're stuck in your sin, open the part in your brain which explores and try to learn from this sin. Say what can I learn from this sin that happened yesterday? What can I learn from it? Because I'm not intending to go back, but let me take a good message and a good wisdom from it. Again, maybe I can benefit someone with it. If you indulge in that, your brain becomes a brain that is indulged in utilizing it. When your brain becomes a brain that likes to utilize things into something that's beneficial, that's one very good step to have a healthy mind. And a healthy mind, of course, is more away from the shaitan. It's more away from the shaitan. Because health also is one contributing factor, by the way, to keep the shaitan away. We have, learned from our teacher, Sheikh Abdullah, that in the ruqyah, when we perform ruqyah on a patient, one of the advices we give them is indulge in exercise. Have a shower with cold water, for example, to help circulating your blood actively. Why? Because the shaitan kicks in and have more control over you when you're lazy. What's the hadith? And the shaitan yajri min Adam majra ad-dam. He has some sort of control over your blood flow somehow. So when you do hijama, for example, when you exercise, when you eat healthy, when you again shower in cold water, these things contribute also. It is within the package of you being in a hidayah. It is within the package for you to become active and healthy. So one of the things that you can be healthy with is your mind, your own mind, to utilize things to your own benefit, inshallah. And like I said, it's very good. Once you have a sin, be active with it. Just write down, how can I turn this sin into a message? Maybe, especially if it's recurring, by the way. If it's a recurring sin, maybe you have a message there. And you should man up and face it in a very positive way. Face it with a yaqeen that I know, I hope that Allah loves me. That's why I did this. Or else, our Prophet and Father Adam والسلام, would not have been, done a mistake. We would have been staying in heaven, enjoying our time there. But he's in Allah astafa Adam wa Nuhan. Allah has chosen Adam. He's one of the chosen people that Allah chose, and he was the one who did the mistake in the heavens. But Allah works in a beautiful way, and because of our father's sin in heaven, we're sitting right now and talking about it, and it becomes a good deed that we're doing right now because of that event that happened. So see how beautiful things manifest and give birth through these things. Jazakumullah khair. Alhamdulillah. Any question, any interference?